We all know the Angry Video Game Nerd is the biggest draw on my channel, and I'm thinking to make a list of my personal favorite nerd episodes, but first I wanted to talk about videos that don't involve the nerd. These are my top 10 favorite Cinemassacre videos, non-AVGN. An honorable mention goes to Flying Fuckernauts versus the Astro Bastards. It comes close.
I don't want to hurt you, I just want to suck on your balls!
Number 10, Board James Mr. Bucket. Board James started as an innocent series about board games, which I think helped make it more disturbing when it eventually went off the rails into horror. Many sitcoms have Halloween episodes where there's a horror theme, but any of the supernatural elements that happen are usually just a dream or it's a prank or something, so at the end everything returns to normal. With this, there's no real happy ending. It just ends on an unsettling note. I think I have an obsession with taking things that aren't supposed to be scary and making them scary. Lots of people remember that Mr. Bucket commercial, and now, thanks to me, you'll never think of Mr. Bucket the same way again. Number 9, Mimal the Elf. I love urban legends, so I decided to make up my own about a killer elf that only appears when you travel a specified route down the United States. Truthfully, Mimal the Elf was something they teach in class to help kids remember the names of the states. Not many people have heard of it, so I wanted to give it more exposure and my own creepy twist. It wasn't decided till later that I would set the documentary in the late 90s, and it was in the style of unsolved mysteries, sightings, fact or fiction, in search of, X-Files, anything of that nature. The final video and audio was run through a VCR to give it the effect of an old VHS recording. No digital filters. I wasn't planning to really fool anybody, but it came out way more convincing than I thought. Number 8, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the game, the movie. This is the most work I ever spent on something that's an in-joke. If you've seen the nerd episodes on the horrible Jekyll and Hyde game, then you know the deal. This was a chance to make something cinematic that was separate from the nerd, but to exploit the same jokes that were already established. It was all about how many things from the game can we show. It's just funny to imagine what a movie based on that game would be like. It's a movie nobody would ask for, although lots of people said they would love to see it done as a full film. But for now, I think it's funny enough as just a trailer. Number 7, Rocky Jumped a Park Bench. This was my ultimate tribute to the Rocky film series. Of all the movie reviews I've done, this is the one I felt the most invested in because I was standing on all the same spots where the movies were filmed. It made me feel almost a part of them. It was fun traveling around Philadelphia and finding all these locations. This was the first location tour I ever did, and still, I think it has the best sense of humor. The whole idea was to get overly excited, like, yo, this is where Rocky stood, as if that's more important than all the American history that took place there. Who cares about Independence Hall? There's a bench that Rocky jumped over. I don't think I tapped into that humor in the same way ever again. Unfortunately, this video has become elusive, possibly non-existent in its original form because the copyright holders keep taking it down. It's a shame that you can put so much passion into promoting something that you love, only for them to think it's stealing their profits. Number 6, The Jersey Odysseys Episode 1, Legend of the Blue Hole. This was my final college film. The idea was that it was the pilot episode for a series based on urban legends in New Jersey. I was inspired by the places written about in Weird New Jersey magazines, and it would have followed a format similar to The Twilight Zone, with 20-minute episodes in an anthology format, all with twist endings. It's a bit autobiographical. The main character is sort of like myself, a guy who's kinda socially distant and likes to explore off the beaten path. He still believes that there's some kind of magic in the world, and he wants to prove it. I never had the chance to make episode 2, but I appreciate the cult following it's had. The ideas for future episodes have sort of molded into other ideas, and now I think I may be preserving some of the same story elements into a new feature horror film, but nothing's set in stone yet.
So what is it, a lake?
It's a bottomless pit. It filled itself with spring water.
What do you mean by bottomless?
It has no bottom.
Number 5, Cinemassacre 200. This was an updated version of a documentary I made about myself in college called Cinemassacre 101 because it was counted as my 101st film, as well as being an introductory course for Cinemassacre. It was heavy on interviews with friends, but the 200 version was just my own voice, and it was made for the internet audience. It's all about how I grew up making movies in the pre-digital age, and hopefully encourages young filmmakers to be resourceful. Still, to this day, lots of people tell me how much Cinemassacre 200 changed their lives, and that means a lot to me. Number 4, The Deader the Better.
I only hit it once. There wasn't even anything left for a second hit.
This was my last big movie before YouTube happened, before AVGN took over. I just wanted to make a classic-style horror movie in black and white, but with an excessive cartoonish amount of gore. All the blood was in color. I'm very proud of the graveyard set and how it looked like you were outdoors in a foggy cemetery when the whole thing was built in a garage. Production design is one of my favorite aspects of filmmaking.
I sure hope it's a closed casket funeral.
Gonna have to be now.
Number 3, Borjames' DreamPhone. This is similar to Mr. Bucket since it's about taking a toy that's not scary and making it scary, but this one is more about the suspense.
You know who I am, say my name. In fact, I'll give you a hint. Closer than you think. I've been watching you all night. I'm gonna fuck you so hard, steam's gonna come out of your ears and your eyeballs are gonna come popping out of your fucking skull.
The whole time we don't know who's on the line, and in case you haven't seen it, maybe I shouldn't spoil it. This is one of my favorite mixes of comedy and horror I've ever done, and for the time being, this was the final Borjames episode. Number 2, more Borjames, Nightmare and Beyond. After a 2-year hiatus, Borjames returned for another season, picking up where the insanity left off. This was the first season that followed a story arc with more continuity from episode to episode. The season finale, and probably the series finale, was Nightmare. This was the craziest, most ambitious episode by far. The storyline is very complicated, and it's tied in with key moments in the timelines of previous episodes, which reveals itself to be a game within a game within a game. I want everyone to see this, but you'd have to at least see the whole season, plus DreamPhone, for it to have any chance of making sense. And number 1, The Dragon in My Dreams. Sometimes the most cherished things are very simple. This is just an autobiographical tale about me chasing down an old playground haunt, a dragon from my childhood that often crept into my dreams. It was my earliest memory and the first trace of my interest in monsters and fantasy. I feel like my whole life's work owes something to this dragon. I was real curious if the dragon was still there after all these years, so I found the location on Google Maps and went back there to document it. I was surprised to find that not only was the dragon still there, but they were renovating the park, and I happened to show up at the last possible moment to see the dragon one last time. The emotions were indescribable. And last I heard, what's left of the dragon now sits at the front of the park, so perhaps others are just as nostalgic.